Good morning. How's everyone doing? My name is Jesus Nava. I'm the Director of Client Training and Education for TradeStation Securities. And I'm in charge of education here at TradeStation. So my main objective is to help you with the TradeStation technology and so you can focus on what you do best, which is trading the markets and analyzing them. So today's topic is Discover TradeStation's desktop core features. So yes, we're going to concentrate on the desktop. If you've been with TradeStation for some time, you already know that we provide different trading platforms. You can trade on your desktop, you can trade on a web browser, and you can trade on the mobile app. So today we're going to concentrate on the flagship product of TradeStation, which is the desktop. We're going to go over some functionality, specifically in the areas of charting, scanning, and trading. And this is a great opportunity for you guys to ask questions or let me know exactly what you want to see demonstrated on the TradeStation platform. So let's make this class as interactive as we can. The disclosures, as usual, just keep in mind that every single idea that I talk about is for educational purposes only. These are not recommendations of TradeStation. Also, active trading is not suitable for everyone, and past historical performance is no guarantee of future results. For those that are wanting more details on these disclosures, go to www.tradestation.com/important-information. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining this class. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to switch over to my TradeStation platform. And this is exactly how the TradeStation desktop shows up when you first install it on your computer. You'll see this workspace that's named TradeStation Today. TradeStation Today is intended to provide you useful information in your getting started with TradeStation. So on the far left, you're going to see a collection of videos. This is what we call the desktop quick start. If you go to this drop down, you'll see a total of 18 videos that make up the quick start. I mean, these are short videos. These are anywhere from 4 to 7 minutes, and it guides you through the different platforms or different applications within the desktop. You can also find those videos on the TradeStation YouTube channel. If you're a fan of watching videos or TradeStation videos on YouTube, you'll find a playlist there called the Desktop Quick Start. But I would start there, if you're new to TradeStation, so you can get an overview of each one of the applications that are part of our platform. Right here in the middle, you're going to see the news feed. So this is don't have the details on how often this news feed is updated. I think it's every minute, but you have news articles that are coming through and are fed through this workspace. Over here on the right-hand side, you have upcoming events. So you can see this has been updated with upcoming sessions. The one that we're on right now is this one on September 25th. September 30th, we have a special presentation on calendar spreads. Make sure that you join us for that webinar. Our guest speaker that day is going to be Matt Cashman from the Options Industry Council. So make sure that you register for this session. That's September 30th at 2 p.m. On that same Monday, we have the second instance of Options Replay. I'm not sure if you've been there, but Options Replay is designed to provide you tips and tricks on how to handle your options trades. Of course, these are showing you trades that are, successful and trades that are not. So there's a balanced view on how to approach the market and how to what type of position, what type of options strategies you could have traded based on what the market's doing at that particular moment. So it's more like a post-mortem type of analysis of options trades. So make sure that you register for that session if you're interested in trading options. That's the same day, September 30th at 2. I'm sorry, this is at 4 p.m. So you have the webinar at 2 p.m. and then you have Options Replay at 4 p.m. for practical examples. So make sure that you always look at what's upcoming. By the way, these sessions that you can register to right within the TradeStation Today workspace are also accessible through the TradeStation's website. So if you go to tradestation.com and you go to learn at the very top, you're going to find events link that just gives you all the events that are upcoming as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can be aware of what's happening at TradeStation and register for any of the sessions that are upcoming. Right here at the bottom, you have the what's new. When I first opened up this workspace, there was an overlay window. Anytime there's a new update of the TradeStation software, you get this pop-up modal providing you information on what's new, what's been fixed, and what's been enhanced. So make sure that you read it. There may be a tool that you're using and it may have been enhanced, or maybe a problem that you were experiencing and it may have been fixed. So a lot of times I look at that pop-up just to be aware of the things that our engineering department is doing on the platform. At the bottom left, right here on this corner, you see workspaces. These are more like templates. So if you're having difficulty figuring out how to get started with TradeStation, these are workspaces that are pre-created for you based on your trading style and the asset class. If you're a futures trader, if you're a stock trader, if you're a day trader or a swing trader, whatever the outlook is, look at the workspaces that are there because it sets up your applications in a very particular way that you can probably, continue using or edit to make them, fit your trading style. So those are just examples that you can start with right from, out of the box. Today, we're going to start our workspaces from scratch. So let me go ahead and click on this little plus at the bottom left that you see here. That'll open up a new untitled workspace. It's untitled because I haven't given it a name. Every time that you create a workspace inside of TradeStation, we always recommend give those workspaces a name, save them to your computer so that you don't have to recreate them over and over again. Next time that you log into TradeStation, you'll have your workspaces there open. The apps menu right here at the very top is where you find all the applications within TradeStation. Today, we're going to highlight just a few, but there are many applications in here. And we do a good job at explaining these applications in the quick start. Even though these are short overviews, we kind of concentrate on the ones that our clients use the most. But if there's anything that you find here that you would like to be explained, then I'm pretty sure we have YouTube videos on most of the applications here. So make sure that you search. And if you're having difficulty finding content, we're always available to you. Send us a question. The email address at the education department is education@tradestation.com, and you're welcome to send questions there if you need to. So let's go over here. I'm going to get started with a chart. So I'm going to click on chart analysis. That'll open up a chart window. And anytime that you need a chart window, you can just go to apps and click on chart analysis. You can open as many chart analysis windows as you need, or as many as your computer can handle, and then make modifications to it. A lot of times, we can find a workspace that has 5, 6, 7 different chart analysis windows in one view, and you can, customize your view in any way possible. These are windows that you can click and drag. You can, grab a corner and resize them to any size that you want. So it's very customizable. So apps, chart analysis gives you multiple chart windows. There are some arranging features right here in the window menu that arranges applications automatically. If I click on this arrange all, notice that my two charts are going to be, aligned side by side. If I do window and I say arrange horizontally, then you can see that my charts are going to be on top of each other. So those are quick ways in which you can arrange your applications. Many times, if you are picky about the size of your windows, usually I'm that way. You can just resize all your windows manually, and very easy to do. You can either do it by the corner or by the edge, and then have another chart window here or another application, okay? Let me remove one of these charts because I'm just going to concentrate on one. Okay. And I see your question, James, about the TTM squeeze. We don't have, let me just double check. If I go to studies, add study, this is where you'll find all the studies in TradeStation, studies, add study. I don't believe we have something called TTM squeeze. I know it's a popular indicator out there in the industry. And we may have indicators that are similar to the TTM squeeze, but not something that is defaulted on the TradeStation platform. There are different variations of this. We have something called the Bollinger Bandwidth that provides a similar type of measurement where it's looking for expansion and contraction on the bands of the Bollinger, but specifically the TTM squeeze, we don't have it as a default indicator. There are, TradeStation users that create these custom indicators for their personal use. A lot of times they make those indicators available to everyone here in the TradeStation community by posting those indicators in the Easy Language library. All indicators in TradeStation are written with Easy Language. Easy Language is TradeStation's proprietary programming language, allowing you to create custom studies, custom strategies, and even modify the ones that exist on TradeStation. So even though we don't provide a TTM squeeze per se, this is something that can be created using Easy Language. If we know what the calculation is and the mathematical formula utilized for the values, this is something that can very easily be created using Easy Language. And most likely, users of TradeStation have already done the work and posted it in the Easy Language library. So I want to encourage everyone to go there and explore all the different indicators and strategies that you can find. In fact, let me go and pull it up so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to go here to help. Go to get help. Let's see, not here. Let's see, go training. Let's get support. Forums and wiki. Let's go to there, get support, and then go to forums and wiki. This will provide you a login window. Let me just log in here and see. It's going to take you to the support center. Yeah, this is the support center. And if you scroll down, you're going to be looking at the Easy Language file library right here under community. This helps you, look for indicators and strategies that other users have created. Okay, perfect. Let me go back here to my TradeStation platform. Okay, in charting, and I see your questions also, Walid, and I'll get to those questions in just a moment. Let me show you a few things here in charting, and then I'll review your questions to see if we can answer those live. A couple things here in charting. Changing the symbol is something that it's very easy to do. You just have to type it using your keyboard, and TradeStation is responsive to keyboard commands. I like to use keyboards or keyboard commands because we're always on the keyboard. So if you're going to enter a new symbol, you have to use the keyboard to enter it. So why not, enter a command? So rather than me going into the data menu, clicking on edit symbol, then going here to the symbol box and entering a new symbol, I just changed it to Tesla. I can just type it in directly into the chart without even, clicking anywhere. So I'm looking at a chart of Tesla. You can see the symbol right here on the top left. If I want to change this to Microsoft, as soon as I start typing, there's a command line, because as soon as you start pressing keys, TradeStation will assume that you're entering a command, and that's why it'll pop up the command line box. And you can see how the symbol is entered inside the box, and as soon as I hit enter, then it changes my chart to Microsoft. So changing the symbol is one of the things you can do in the command line. You can also change the time frame. Notice that I'm on a 5-minute time frame. If I type in the word daily and I hit enter, I'm on a daily chart. If I type in the word weekly and I hit enter, this is the weekly chart of Microsoft. If I want to see a 60-minute chart of Microsoft, I type in 60 space MIN. You do have to use an abbreviation for minute, although you can also spell out the whole word minutes. It'll work either way. But 60 space MIN, I most of the time use the short abbreviation of minutes, and I hit enter. Now you're looking at a 60-minute chart of Microsoft. So in addition to changing the symbol, you can also change the time frame by typing it in. And a third thing you can do is load more history. A lot of times, let me show you another set of keys that you're going to be using a lot on your computer. are the up keys and the down keys on your keyboard. I use them all the time because the down key allows you to compress the chart, reduce the bar spacing. The up arrow key allows you to expand the view. So make sure you find the up arrow and down arrow keys on your keyboard because they will help you navigate the chart. When I was talking about history, let me squeeze the chart here and reduce the bar spacing. You can see how there's a set number of candles and it doesn't automatically populate the empty space. When you reduce the bar spacing and press the down arrow key multiple times, it'll start squeezing the chart over here on the left-hand side, and you see open space on the right. What that means is that you don't have enough historical data to fill the chart, which is okay because you can always request it. And TradeStation has a massive historical database that you can tap into. So for example, Microsoft on a 60-minute, I can tell my chart to give me like 2 years. So if I type in 2 years, notice that just like that, 2 years, and you can use days, weeks, and years as a command to request historical data. You just have to tell it the amount and TradeStation will load it. 2 years of 60-minute data, I'm gonna hit enter. When I do that, I see a PD. Notice the PD in yellow on the top left corner. The PD stands for pending data. And once the PD goes away, it means that the data has been loaded already. But you can see that I probably had some data on my hard drive and I was able to load it very quickly. But you can see the PD just went away. So now I should have 2 years of 60-minute chart or 60-minute data for Microsoft. Let me scroll back all the way here to the back of the chart. I'm going to click on the background. This is something really interesting that you can do on TradeStation as well. If you click on the background and you hold the mouse button, you get the data tips window. And the data tips window is convenient because it tells you, the date, the time, and the details of the candle where the vertical axis is. If I move it over here, I'm still holding my mouse button, by the way. If I move it all the way here back to the very first candle, you can see how the chart starts at 10:30. That's information right there in the box for September 26th, 2022, exactly 2 years from today's date. And you can see the opening, high, low, and close and volume for Microsoft on that day. Microsoft right now is trading at about $430. So we see a 100% over a 100% increase in price since, the beginning of that 2-year period. Okay. Let me see if I can take a few of the questions that are coming through. I understood that if I trade pre-market, I won't be able to add stop loss order to my buy limit order. So if I bought a stock pre-market, how can I add trailing stop order to my buy limit order immediately after the market opened at 9:30 a.m. using chart trading or matrix? And can this be done through the trade bar? Yes. I haven't, tested the pre-market trading in a while. But you do, or you can submit a trailing order after you've bought or sold something in the pre-market. Let me see. Let me look for a position that I have already open. Let me show you this very quickly. It's good that we get these questions, in class because this is also a learning opportunity for everyone. Yes, you can submit orders in the pre-market as early as 8 a.m. Right now, I think we are in the works of enhancing that functionality and providing you a more extended trading day. But as of now, you can enter trades as early as 8 a.m. in the morning. The market opens at 9:30. But there are some restrictions. As Walid is pointing out, there's only a certain type of orders you can enter in the pre-market. They have to be of a duration day plus, and they can only be limit orders. And that's why he says, yeah, stop orders cannot be entered. So what do? Once I get filled in the pre-market, can I enter a trailing stop afterwards? Okay, so let's suppose that I'm looking at one of these positions, and I'm going to assume that I filled or I got filled at the beginning of the day. For example, this is Home Depot right here. Let me change my chart here to Home Depot. I see my position right there. Okay. I got in at 364 and the price of Home Depot is 396. So this is a profitable position. Let me do something that's really closer to what's trading right now. I'm going to go switch this to Spider. Spider is a transaction or a trade that I did submit. Okay, so Spider pulled up. Sometimes those data files get corrupted, but you can see that I shorted in the pre-market. Let me show you exactly when I got filled. Let me go here to, because this is the way that you enable pre and post market sessions. I go to time frame, I go to sessions, and enable the stock with pre and post market. It's a coincidence that I was trading pre-market this morning, but notice that I got filled right here. This is the bar. This is the 8:45 a.m. bar, and I shorted Spider this morning, and the trade is going against me, so I'm losing about $30 as we speak. So let's say, for example, that I want to do a trailing stop after the fact. Well, I can go here to the trade bar. I'm not sure which order entry tool you'd like to use, but you can use any. Right here on the trade bar, I'm set here to Spider. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to a stop market order. I'm going to turn my trailing stop functionality. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my trailing stop to, let me set it to 50 cents. And I'm just going to click on this buy to cover button. So that'll set a selling transaction 50 cents away from the trading price. Let's go ahead and click here. And here it is. Everybody sees the trailing stop is right above where the market is. It's at 571.80, but as the market continues to drop in my favor, the stop will move with it and stay 50 cents away. If the market's moving against me, the stop will be fixed. But this is the way to do it. I mean, you can do it with any market. Once you get filled, you can go in there and set a selling transaction with a trail amount. Okay. Let me see if I can get any other questions here. James is asking, is there a drop down versus needing to type? I suppose you're referring to the drop down for symbols, right? There is a drop down right here for a symbol, but the symbol doesn't necessarily right here on the, it only works if you're searching. So if you type in, for example, American, it'll search for you and give you a drop down with every symbol that has the word American in it. One thing that I've done as well is, for example, the command line keeps a record of symbols that you've typed in the past, like recent symbols. So if you press any key on the keyboard just to pull up the command line, and sometimes I just do the space bar, for example, and just pulls the command line, I can go to this drop down and it will show you a history of 10 commands that you've entered into the command line. If you want to just look at symbols, because this includes, historical request commands, time frame change requests, it includes every type of command. But if you want to concentrate on just symbols, rather than clicking on this drop down, click on this little caret on the right, gives you history and commands list. This concentrates on symbols, which are the symbols at the very top, and time frames at the bottom. It splits the list into two. And of course, you can control how many items to remember. But from here, I can just click on any one of these. Let's say that I want to go back to this call with a strike price of 560 for Spider, and it changes my chart to that symbol. And I can see the trading activity for that. Okay. All right. And Scott, you're asking about workspaces where you can analyze bull call spreads and bull put spreads. Yeah, in the Options Education Center, we provide all these workspaces that you can download and use on TradeStation. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but let me show you what I mean by that. Let me go to the main website. This is tradestation.com. You can see the URL right there on the top. Just go to Learn right here on the top menu and go to Options Education. So go to Options Education. We have dozens of different articles that you can look at. Let me go ahead. This is the new webinar that we have next Monday. So it gives you a pop-up for you to register. But if you're interested in something like bull call spreads, like this article right here, if you click on it, it opens up the article. Okay. And in addition to the article, you have a workspace that you can download. So here is Scan for Stocks on the Move and Identify Opportunities to Implement a Bull Call Spread Strategy. You can download that workspace and open it up on your TradeStation. So a lot of these articles already have a workspace associated with them. So if you're interested in scanning and looking for opportunities on all these options strategies, make sure you go to the Options Education Center and you'll find a lot of information there. All right, James was telling me that I had changed the time frame. Thank you for that. Let me go back here to one of the second question from Walid. It says, how can I build a good scanner, real-time scanner for gappers stocks that I can run pre-market to display gap in dollar amount, percentage, and volume traded pre-market? Which best way to do it in scanner or radar screen? Great question, Walid. It's a little bit more intricate in terms of how to set it up. However, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but you have hot lists that you can open up at any given moment. The hot lists in TradeStation are applications that start loading in the pre-market. As soon as we have data on any symbol, we'll start, ranking the symbols based on any particular filter that you select. Let me switch over here to my TradeStation platform. I'm going to open up a new workspace. Go to my applications right here at the very top. And the application that I'm referring to is this one, Hot Lists. If I go to Hot Lists and I set my activity to gap, you're saying gap stocks based on dollar amount. This is dollar and you have percentage. If you do dollar, then you have the stocks that have the biggest gap based on a dollar amount. Okay, so this is as I said, this is a list that you can take a look at pre-market, and you'll have a ranking of those symbols pre-market. So that would be the quickest way for you to get a list of symbols that match your criteria. Okay, great. Let me go ahead and go back here to this workspace where I had my chart. I think we went over studies. This is where you find indicators. But if I wanted to apply, let's say, some moving averages here, I go to Add Study. All right, let me go here in this list of studies and go to the M's for moving averages. I'm going to select a moving average 2-line. This will provide me the 2 lines on the chart. I didn't have to specify the length or the periods being averaged because there's always a default parameter that gets applied to indicators, but you can change it. Let's say, for example, that we wanted something specific, that we wanted to measure a 30 period, which would be our fast, a 30 versus a 60 period moving average. If we want to do that, just double click on the lines. By the way, this is a shortcut, double clicking on the lines. It takes you to customize an indicator. Of course, you could have gone here to studies and clicked on edit studies, and then you have the moving averages, and then you can click on customize. I find that to be many clicks.
Order filled.
Sorry, that was my order getting filled. I think that was the trailing stop that I placed for my spider position. But in here, what I did is I just double click on the indicator, any of the lines of the indicator, and it takes you to the same place. And I can change the period here for the fast to 30 and for the slow to 60. I click OK, and you can see how the indicator automatically shifts, changes parameters, and you can do that with any study within TradeStation. One thing you can do too is enable this indicator for alerting. What I'm looking for this indicator to tell me is if there's a crossover. I mean, the reason why you do, or the reason why you add technical indicators to your chart is for you to keep an eye on that technical calculation and be alerted if something's happening. Maybe you want to do some analysis right there and then, so maybe an alert is not necessary. But if you're waiting for something to happen, then an alert is important. Every indicator in TradeStation, or most indicators in TradeStation, have alert criteria already built into the study. So all you need to do is go to the Alerts tab and enable alert. Very easy. because the programming or the alert itself is already taken care of in terms of the rules or anything that needs to be met in terms of criteria. It's already programmed into the indicator, and all you need to do is enable the alert. You can choose how do you want to be alerted. I can click on configure and I can set an audible alert. I'm not sure if you heard my failed order alert, but you have all sorts of different sounds that you can play. Uh-oh, that was loud. Session bell. Any of these you can use to set your alert preferences. Okay. And you can even bring in your own sounds if you want to. TradeStation uses regular wave files. So if you click on configure here in sounds, you can even bring in your favorite tunes for you to play those if there's an alert being triggered. Okay, let me cancel out of this. Did I turn on the alert? I think I did. So no, I didn't turn on the alert. I'm going to say alert once per bar. I'm looking at a 5-minute chart, so I don't want to get crazy alerts, just one every bar. And that's it. This blue A on the top left corner next to the symbol lets me know that an alert has been enabled for this particular symbol. Now, let me show you something really interesting, because ideally what you would want to do is use a technical idea to scan the markets. For example, if moving averages was your thing and you wanted to find stocks that were crossing right now, just to look for opportunities. So not wait for them to happen, but just look for them and see if they're good opportunities or not. Here, let me go open up a new workspace and open up a tool that we call the radar screen. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it, but this is our real-time scanning tool. And it allows me to look for those opportunities on any technical idea. So let me go ahead and put it right here. Let me resize it. I'm going to add a list of symbols. By the way, I can type symbols manually in here if I want to, monitor a custom list of symbols. A lot of times what I do is I click on data, add a symbol list, and I add something like the NASDAQ 100 if I want to look for opportunities. NASDAQ 100, it has preset columns here that I can modify. For example, I don't need the bid, ask, the high, or the low. So if I click and drag over the column headers, I can press the delete key and get rid of those. And I can click on this plus or go to studies and add study to add technical indicators. Let me show you what I mean by that. The same indicator that you would enter or add to a chart, you can add it here to radar screen. Let me go here to moving averages, 2 lines, and add it. And then click OK. So notice that this will calculate a fast and a slow moving average. So the cyan is the fast, the magenta is the slow. Let me copy my chart from this first workspace. I'm going to right click, copy window. I'm going to go here to the one that I just created, right click and paste window, because you can't copy and paste windows into different workspaces. It makes it easier for you to not have to recreate everything from scratch. Now, the default moving average is using 9 and 18 periods. So let me go ahead and set my moving average here to the same. Remember that we had changed it to 30 and 60? I'm just going to change it back to the way that it was, 9 and 18. But I am going to change the time frame here to daily. Okay, so let me go ahead and link these two windows together, because I want the functionality of being able to click on a symbol on my radar screen and have the simple update here on my chart. You link the two windows together by clicking on the S symbol link icon. S stands for symbol. So now on my chart, I still have that call with a strike price of 560. But if I click on, for example, on Orly, then Orly gets loaded here on my chart. It just provides you that convenience. And you can see the moving averages for Orly. Now, if you look at the moving averages for Orly, they're 1126 and 1125. But if you look at Orly over here, they're 1134 and 1132. there's a difference between the two averages, right? They're not syncing. The reason for that is because you have to be aware of the type of data that's being used. If you guys remember, I had changed my chart to daily. But if you look over here inside of radar screen, there's an interval component to the technical indicators. So it's using 5-minute data for the calculation. That's why they're not going to match unless I make them the same. So in order for me to change the interval here to daily, I have to select the symbols because that's where the data lies inside the symbol. So I select all the symbols by clicking on the symbol header. It just highlights all the symbol. And I'm going to go to time frame and select daily. So now you can see how interval says daily instead of 5-minute. And the moving averages here are being recalculated based on daily bars. So now I should get a daily calculation. So for Orly, now I have 1125 and 1124, which still don't match the symbols here. Let me see why not. Oh, I know why. And this is my mistake. On the chart, I have simple moving averages inside of my radar screen. If you look at the header here, it says moving average exponential 2 lines. So I added the wrong indicator to my radar screen. So let me go ahead and remove it and add it very quickly. Did not intend to add the exponential, though you can add it if you're using exponential moving averages. I wanted this one over here that does not have EXP in its name. And it landed here next to the description. I'm going to move it down. So it's at the very end of my radar screen. And now it's calculating correctly. Now, Orly says 1125, 1126, which is 1125, 1126 that I see here on the chart. So whenever you see discrepancies between values in radar screen and charting, sometimes it's got to do with the time frame or the parameters or the inputs you're using on the technical indicators. So make sure to check all those places to make sure they all align. Okay, back to scanning. So I have 100 symbols here that are part of the NASDAQ 100. Let me remove these top 2 rows because $NDX.X is a symbol for the NASDAQ, and I won't be able to trade it directly. So I would have to trade some sort of derivative of the NASDAQ 100. So I'm going to remove it here from my radar screen just so I only concentrate on the components, on the symbols. You can click on any symbol here and press delete if you don't want to include it in your scanning. But notice that any symbol that I click on gets loaded here on the left-hand side. One more step. I'm going to right-click on the header for the moving average and go to Studies, and I'm going to edit the moving average for all symbols. And in here, just go to the Alerts tab and enable the alert. In here, I'm going to do something really interesting. I'm going to enable the alert, but only for visual analysis. What does that mean? It means that I'm going to allow the alert to be continuous, but I'm going to disable messaging, meaning that I don't want to get any sounds. I don't want to get any pop-up windows. All I want to be able to do is filter by the alert. So I don't want any message notification. I'm going to click OK, and it happens automatically for me. You'll see that every row has a little yellow corner letting you know that there's an alert enabled. But every so often, you're going to see a row that has a red marker. The red marker or markers are the real-time alerts. If I click on this one, the very first one on my list, this is ASML. I click it and take a look at what's happening to those 2 moving averages at this precise moment. I get a chart analysis alert because my alert is enabled here. But notice that we were in a downtrend for a few days, then kind of recovered and made the moving averages cross. Is this the right opportunity to trade this particular symbol? Well, that's something that you have to determine yourself. But this is a great way for you to find these types of events happening in real time. How long would it have taken you to sift through 100 symbols and be able to find an event like this happening? If you look at the red here for Charter Communications, CHTR, it's darker, meaning that it had an alert at one moment, but it's not there anymore. Let's take a look at it. All right, so you see the two moving averages? They're kind of, I mean, they crossed a couple days ago and they seem to be crossing today again, but not really. So that's why this is dark, because they crossed a moment ago and they are not crossing right now. But notice that I can click on any of the ones that have a red marker and they are crossing on the current bar. And this works for any technical analysis that you're following. It doesn't really have to be moving averages. It can be anything that is built into TradeStation or anything that you create yourself or anything that you bring from the Easy Language library. It works for every technical indicator that is Easy Language. I can take this one step further and filter by using the filter bar right here at the top. Very quickly, I can just select here. I want to filter my radar screen using the moving averages that I just added. But instead of looking at the value, I want to look at the alert and the alert to be true. And there you go. Take a look at the list. It's filtered. It removes anything that is not triggering that alert. In fact, I have a total of 10 symbols out of the 100 that are crossing right now. And any of these are going to show me a cross on the current bar. Let's click on. Notice how the crossover is happening. Let's click on FANG. Notice how the crossover is happening on the current bar. So this is a great tool that you can use for filtering opportunities. All right, great. James, to expand the size of the bars, I'm not sure if you mean horizontal wise, but what I do is I press the up arrow key on the keyboard. Up arrow makes the candlesticks bigger. Down arrow, multiple times, just compresses the chart. So make sure you find those two buttons because they're going to be very useful. You can also, bring your cursor down towards the bottom and you find these two buttons. If you're more of a mouse person, you can click on these as well. These expand and contract the chart if you want to. You can also click and drag on the scale right here if you want to adjust the scale. Notice how that happens. I can click on the candles and move them in any direction that I want to as well. And then I can come down here and click on the reset button on the overlay. It resets the scale back to where it was. Okay, perfect. Any other questions? I'm open to anything you guys want me to show, but there are multiple ways in which you can enter trades in TradeStation. You can use the trade bar at the very top. Very straightforward. I mean, you just have to fill in the boxes and put in your trade. You can also trade from a chart. If you enable chart trading from a chart, you have to click on this button on the toolbar. It's called chart trading if you hover over it. But if I click it, it opens up a trade bar on the right side of my chart. And I have buttons here to buy, to sell, hit, take. I can do, OCOs, OSOs, all the fancy types of order placement. And if I wanted to use more of what they call a ladder, where you see level 2 data, we have the matrix. So if you open up the matrix, you have this window. I'm going to resize this. You have this window where you can enter trades as well. You have a bid column, which is the blue, and the ask column, which is the red. If you want to buy, you click on the blue. If you want to sell, you click on the red. And this is a very similar, trade bar as the one you see in chart trading. So yeah, the platform will give you multiple ways in which you can enter a trade. You're going to have to, find the one that is most comfortable to you. Antonio's asking, could you have a look in my previous questions about workspaces organization at the beginning of? Yeah, let's take a look. I'm sorry I skipped it, Antonio. Let me see. Okay, there I found it. Perfect. Thank you for reminding me. In algo trading strategies, what do you recommend to have each strategy in an individual workspace or to group strategies in workspaces, metals, agricultural, etc.? I had problems with my VPS closing the TradeStation platform. The VPS meaning a virtual something. Okay. Interesting that you were having technical difficulties. So in terms of recommending whether to have one workspace or multiple workspaces running, I would assume that it's just my understanding of how the platform works, that it's not a major difference between the two. Whether you have one single workspace with one chart running an algorithm, or having, I mean, having single workspaces where each one workspace has one chart running one algorithm, or having just one workspace with multiple charts running multiple algorithms. Sometimes workspace files are sensitive based on the environment that they're running on. A workspace with multiple applications, multiple windows, and multiple strategies running simultaneously, I would think it's a little bit more sensitive to crashes and corruption than a single workspace with a single chart and a single algorithm running. So what would I do? I would probably have multiple workspaces and spreading all these different algorithms in each one of the workspaces to balance the load. And in case one of the workspaces crashes or goes corrupt, you don't lose everything. You know, you can always recreate that single workspace and start again. But at the same time, it would be something that you'd have to test on your side and see which, works best for you. I would be more inclined on doing that, separating the workspaces and doing individual things. But in terms of taxing your computer's processor, you're still, you're still using the same number of windows and the same number of algorithms. The only difference is multiple workspaces, which doesn't really add a lot of extra consumption of system resources, but still, even though we're using the same resources, I would still split up the workspaces into multiple ones. Perfect. Thank you, Antonio. Let's see. Colette is asking, are you saying that we should create backup workspaces for each workspace? Well, not manually, I would still have a backup, because if it's something that took you a while to create, I know that a lot of times we have these workspaces that are very intricate, and you have, multiple indicators, and you have strategies, and you have the colors and the styles the way you like it. So you probably have spent, some considerable amount of time creating the workspace and make it look the way you want. It would be, it would be cumbersome to have to create that again, to put it lightly. And I always recommend to have a backup. Conveniently, TradeStation offers a backup utility. So if you haven't looked at it, go to File, Backup Restore TradeStation, and Backup TradeStation. And you can schedule this as an automatic backup. So you always have somewhere to retrieve your work from if you lose it. A lot of clients, what they do, if they really rely on their workspaces, they even take that backup and put it somewhere that it cannot get lost. Like, for example, if your computer dies all of a sudden, you may lose all your work. And if you spend a lot of time, writing code and creating custom indicators, that's stuff that I would find very valuable to me, and I would want to back it up. And to have a real backup, you take that file and put it somewhere on the cloud or an external hard drive, somewhere that you can recover your TradeStation work from in a case of hardware or software failure, which, happens. We all use computers, and we know how aggravating it is to have to recreate things from scratch, okay? So backups are always recommended. I think Walid had asking, okay, Walid, if you have an active order and you want to add a trailing stop, like attach a trailing stop to it, that is something that cannot be done. So if you submit an order, for example, and it doesn't have a trailing stop attached, but the order hasn't gotten filled, it's still an active order when the market opens, you won't be able to attach a trailing stop to it. So if you want the attachment feature, you'd have to cancel that order and enter a new one. So I thought you meant like an open position where you have a filled order, you already have a position in place, then you can do a trailing stop on that open position. But if it's an active order that you want to attach a trailing stop to, then that order needs to be canceled and you need to re-enter the order one more time. Let's see. Edgar, the strategy creation feature on Futures Plus platform. Wow, that's a good one. It's a good one because I don't have Futures Plus open right now, and it may take me a while to show you the strategy creation feature. But I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but we are starting a Futures Plus masterclass. I'm not sure if you looked at the events calendar, but we have a 6-part series scheduled on future spreads and futures options. So if Futures Plus is your thing, look at the events calendar. October 1st is going to be our first session on this Futures Plus masterclass. And we can show you a lot of functionality there. So make sure that you join us there, okay? We also do a getting started on Futures Plus. So make sure that you look at the calendar for that class, just to give you a little bit more information on that, okay? Dennis is asking, what is your optimal screen size? Well, that's an interesting question. I suppose that you're talking about for the computer use. I'm not sure if there is an optimal screen size for TradeStation. You know, I think it all depends on your preference. You know, right now on my computer, I'm using 2 screens that are, I believe they're 25-inch screens, and they're 4K screens. So everything looks very sharp. But there's not really a recommended screen size for TradeStation. Just get something that you're comfortable with and you can see a lot of details, you know. TradeStation will adapt to any screen resolution, so that's something that we do automatically. Oh, I think Maurice scheduled backups every Sunday morning. Thank you for the idea. Backups should not be run during the market, when the market's open. So Antonio makes a good point, you know. He says interference between the back process when it started and the open positions, either in real or in demo. Yeah, backups, when the backup runs, it's going to disconnect your TradeStation from the server. So you want to make sure that you run it at times when you're not using TradeStation, because it's going to happen. It's going to disconnect your TradeStation. So make sure you run it outside of your trading hours, you know. Futures Plus Colette is not a new application for TradeStation. Futures Plus is a platform that's been around for years already, but it is available to those clients that want to trade future spreads or futures options. Now, on the TradeStation platform, the one that you use currently, or the one that I'm showing right now, you can trade futures like commodities, and you can trade, you know, the S&P 500. You can trade corn, wheat. Those are electronic futures that you can trade directly on the platform. But if you want to trade a futures spread or a futures option, then you need to be set up with Futures Plus. Futures Plus is a platform. It's a separate futures account for those that want to trade those assets. So if you're interested in learning about Futures Plus, join us in the Futures Plus Masterclass starting October 1st. And it's an application. It runs on a web browser. Yes, it's nothing you install. You run it on the web browser of your choice. Correct. All right, that's my class for today. Thank you guys for joining me this time. Remember that every Wednesday we have getting started classes, so make sure you join me for those. If you want to see the upcoming topics, look at the events calendar. We have the masterclass series, so we're always posting new events, and we would like to see you in future classes. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.